Danielle. I work at the front desk at the Cold Spring branch of the Campbell County Public Library, and today I'm going to be reading a book to my 3 cats who I magically got to all sit together and be nice. Their names are Callie, Mac, and Cheese. So we got Cheese first. One of the other ladies that works at another branch of the library found him in her barn outside. So we adopted him when he was just a kitten. He is just about 2 years old now. We got Mac right around the same time. And then Callie was a stray that just showed up to our house this summer. So we've only had her about 6 months now. Mac is a long-haired cat. She is the most beautiful cat that I've ever met in my life. She has the most beautiful green eyes. You can't see right now because she's sleeping. But she loves to swish around her big fluffy tail. And this is her favorite place to nap around the house right now. Cheese always loves to be at the top of the perch. And Callie doesn't normally like the cat tree, so I'm very impressed that she is willing to sit here and let me read her a story today. Mackenzie loves to play pretty much anything. She's the most playful cat that I have ever met. She loves to play fetch, and she loves to play with feather sticks and springy toys. The other two really like a laser pointer, and they'll play ball sometimes too with Kenzie, but most of the times they just like to nap around and be really cute. So today we're going to read the book Interrupting Cow by Jane Yolen. I hope you guys like it. It was morning in the barn. The cows were enjoying some hay. Interrupting Cow turned to her herd mates. Her name was Daisy, but as she was always interrupting everyone, she was called Interrupting Cow. "Knock, knock," she said. "Who's there?" they asked. In their slow way, they never learned. "Interrupting Cow," she said. "Interrupting Cow who?" they began. "Moo!" shouted Interrupting Cow. She fell onto the barn floor in helpless giggles. Backing out of the barn and leaving their food behind, the herd galloped off into the yard. Interrupting Cow ran after them, but try as she might, they would not talk to her, or play with her, or even pay her the slightest bit of attention. So Interrupting Cow trotted off to the duck pond, where she waded right in. There the ducks bobbed and bobbled for weeds, their feathery back ends pointing at the sky. Interrupting Cow waited until she could count all of their beaks. "Knock, knock," she said. "Who's there?" they quacked back. They never learned. "Interrupting Cow," she said. "Interrupting Cow who?" they began. "Moo!" shouted Interrupting Cow. She fell backwards into the water in helpless laughter. I think they're really enjoying this story. The ducks swam to the other side of the pond, leaving a wiggle of foam in their wake. They never looked back. Interrupting Cow glanced around. She saw the horses picnicking under the spreading trees in the meadow. She trotted over to them. "Knock, knock," she said. "Who's there?" they asked in their proud way. They never learned. "Interrupting Cow," she said. "Interrupting Cow who?" they began. "Moo!" shouted Interrupting Cow. I scared her. I'm sorry. She toppled onto the ground in helpless snickers. The horses snorted and sneered and galloped away. She told her joke to the chickens, who flapped off, squawking, the pigs, who buried their snouts in the mud, the goats, who climbed up high to get away from her, and the lone donkey, who went into his shed and kicked the door shut. Not a one of them laughed at her joke, and no one wanted to play. By now it was late afternoon. Slowly, Interrupting Cal walked towards the woods, where she'd never been before. She wasn't really afraid, just a bit, well, nervous, and possibly a little sad. There, on a branch of a tree, at the edge of the forest, huddled a strange, dark shape. She'd never seen anything like it before. Interrupting Cal went closer. "Knock, knock," she called up quietly to the shape. The shape opened up big eyes and stared at her. "Who?" it began. "Interrupting Cal," she said. "Who?" it asked. "Moo!" shouted Interrupting Cal. Before she could fall beneath the tree, chuckling, the dark shape said again, "Who?" And Interrupting Cal interrupted again, "Moo! Moo! Who? Moo! Who? Moo! Who?" On and on they went, interrupting each other for the rest of the afternoon. Interrupting Cal had never had so much fun. When nighttime came, the owl flew off on silent wings. Tired but happy, Interrupting Cal walked slowly back to the barn. She thought she might tell the other cows about her long, interesting day and about her new friend, who liked to joke around as much as she did. But she was so tired, she fell fast asleep standing up, and nobody in the barn interrupted her very pleasant dreams. The end. Did you guys like this story? I think they did. Thanks for listening, everybody. Have a good day.
Hello, I'm Dawna, and I work in the business office at the Campbell County Public Library. I'm in the Cold Spring branch. I'm the library accountant. I've been doing that job for about 12 years, and everyone I work with is really nice. I love working for the library, and I enjoy browsing all the shelves, and I wish I had time to read every book. I'm so glad that our library is able to provide fun programs for you. Today, I'm reading with my beloved Missy. She is a rescue Chihuahua mix and is about 15 years old. According to the American Kennel Club, Chihuahuas are charming, graceful, sassy, and they came from Mexico. Missy weighs about 7 pounds and she is about 7 inches tall. She is loyal and has a big dog attitude. She loves to be with me all the time. Sometimes I even take her on vacation. She eats dog food for older dogs and loves chewy bones. Her favorite thing to do outside is chasing squirrels. She is a family pet, but she mostly prefers being with me. So Missy and I are reading Spring for Sophie by Yale Warburg. I would like for you to notice in this book how Sophie's dog Shadow helps her discover spring. Thanks to Simon Schuster Publishers for allowing this Read a Book video to be broadcast. "When will spring be here?" Sophie asked her mom. "Spring comes slowly," her mom told her. "How will I know when spring is coming?" The first way to tell if spring is coming is to listen for it. When you hear the birds start to sing songs to each other, that's when you'll know spring is coming. That's what spring sounds like. So Sophie listened. She listened in the mornings when she played with her sister in the snow, and she listened in the evenings when she helped her dad collect wood for the fire. At first, she couldn't hear anything except for how quiet the world was when it was covered in snow. But one day, as she walked with her mom to get the mail, she heard the first chirps. Every day, she heard more and more. First the chickadees, and then the mourning doves, and then the robins. Soon she could hear all kinds of birds calling to each other, announcing that spring is coming. But outside it was still snowy and cold. How will I know when spring is getting even closer? Sophie asked. You'll have to use your feet, her dad said. When you start to feel the ground get softer and muddy, that's when you'll know spring is getting even closer. That's what spring feels like. So, Sophie paid extra attention to her feet. When she walked in the woods with her dad, the ground was still slippery and hard, and she had to hold her dad's hand. When she walked shadow with her mom, everything still felt icy. But then one day, the ground felt softer than before, and the snow was slushier, and pretty soon her boots started sinking into the ground instead of slipping on top of it. Sophie felt spring getting closer. But it's still not spring, Sophie said, and she sighed when she had to put on her hat and gloves to go outside. How will I know when spring is really here? Well, Sophie, you'll have to use your eyes and nose to tell if spring is here, her mom said. You'll have to watch and wait until you see the snow start to melt. And you will have to wait until the air begins to smell like earth and rain. That's when you'll know spring is here. That's what spring looks and smells like. She watched as flowers pushed up from under the ground and showed their stems. She watched as ice melted off the lake, and as the snow turned to puddles in her yard, and she watched as new moss covered the rocks in the woods. She saw the world turn from white to green. And then one day, after the snow had melted, Sophie smelled the air. She quickly put on her rain boots and raincoat and ran outside. Sophie looked up at the sky as the rain started to fall. Sophie, what are you doing? She heard her dad call. Now I know spring is here. Sophie stuck out her tongue to catch the raindrops, because this is what spring tastes like. And that's the end. Missy and I want to thank you for sitting with us today to hear the story of Spring for Sophie. And we hope to see you at the library.